So this is 28th of November, and the essence, sweet children, the metaphor is butter and buttermilk. So the knowledge is very nourishing and rich like butter in comparison with bhakti, which doesn't have so much power in it, doesn't have so much information, and therefore it is classified as buttermilk in comparison. So the Father is giving you butter in the form of the richness and power of the knowledge by which you can become masters of the world. Then he says, this is why they show butter in the mouth of Sri Krishna. So that means that it's not actually the reason why at all, but the soul of Brahma Baba is actually the same as the soul of Sri Krishna. This knowledge, which is butter, is coming from Shiv Baba through the mouth of Brahma Baba, who is the same soul as the soul of Krishna. But anyway, how can you recognize someone whose intellect has faith? What attainment is there on the basis of faith? So the answer, children whose intellects have faith are the moths who surrender to the flame and they don't just circle around. Those who surrender to the flame enter the kingdom. That means enter the royal family. Those who simply circle around become one of the subjects. Secondly, the promise of the children whose intellects have faith is, it's even if I have to die, I will not change who I am. So their intellects have true love, and so they are not limited by their physical religious practices and tenets and doctrines. And they will also be beyond their physical identity, which is cultural and under the influence of their parents, teachers, and gurus. They will stay in the remembrance of the Father. The song, leave your throne in the sky and come down to the earth. Om Shanti. God is speaking. The incorporeal Supreme Father is called God. So who said God is speaking? It's God who said that, the incorporeal Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul. So the incorporeal Father is sitting here explaining to you incorporeal souls. Not talking to bodies, he's talking to souls. It's different. Different consciousness. When you're soul conscious, you can take it in. If you're body conscious, it won't go in. So this is an intriguing concept. You incorporeal souls are listening through the physical organs, your ears of your bodies. A soul cannot be classified as male or female. Souls are just souls, neither male nor female. And the soul himself, so himself is actually a pronoun in English that is universal, but not very many people know that. We can't say itself because it's not an it, and so we'll go with him because there's no universal pronoun that is not biased against the female. So we have to go with that. So the soul says through these organs, I leave one body and take another. All human beings are brothers. That means all human souls. As the children of the incorporeal Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, you're brothers. But once you are in your bodies and you think of yourselves as Brahma Kumars and Kumaris, in that sense, you are brothers and sisters because it's with the body. So keep explaining this to everyone. God is called the protector and also the one who gives the fruit of devotion to the devotees. So the Father explains, I alone am the giver of salvation. That is Sadgati Data. So Sadgati actually, this word salvation means different things to different people, depending on their ideas. And when he says Sadgati, it means he takes you to the golden age, which is also, Sadgati means the true destination, the right destination, and that is via the soul world. So I take the form of the teacher of all of you, and I give you Shrimat. So Shrimat has many different meanings. And so literally Shrimat refers to the concepts of the soul, the supreme soul, the knowledge of Brahma and the Trimurti, the knowledge that God is not omnipresent, that souls are not immune to the effect of karma. All of this is Shrimat. So Shrimat is usually referred to in BKs as any instruction which is said to come from God or any God's representative, but we can't really keep using it in that context anymore because Shiv Baba is not speaking directly or through Dadi Gulzar anymore, and there's no more Dadis, so we can't really use the word Shrimat for anything like that anymore. So then he says, I am also the Satguru of everyone. So Satguru means the one who takes you to the soul world. And Shiv Baba does not have a father, a teacher, or a guru. He's not a human. So Shiv Baba, that father, not Sri Krishna, is the one who teaches the ancient Raj Yoga of Bharat. Now, Krishna cannot be called the father. He is a prince of heaven. He has divine virtues, but he's not the ocean of virtues. He's not the source. He is the consequence of the knowledge. So only the one, the Supreme Father, is called the purifier through yoga, and the giver of salvation. That means the one who takes you to the golden age, or who takes all other people to their beginning point in the cycle via the soul world. All the souls at the moment are unhappy. Unhappy is an emotional word, so I don't think it's suitable. Dukh means hardship, distress, literal difficulties. They're also impure and corrupt. So corrupt means they have been corrupted by the difficulties, the traumas, and so on that they have endured, which has distorted the soul. And that's called brasht as opposed to sresht, so impure and pure. So this word for corrupt, brasht, is meant in opposition to to pure. And so these are just, the word impure and corrupt are actually two different words from two different languages, both meaning impure and damaged. So Bharat itself is divine. That means this word divine doesn't mean of God, otherwise in English divine means of God. And in Hindi, divya means that it belongs to deities. So it is deity-like and elevated. That means very pure. So this word for elevated is sresht. So elevated is opposite of brasht. So here you've got corrupt in the sentence before, and sresht, elevated, in this one. So these are also pure and impure in the golden age. So Bharat is deity-like and pure in the golden age. When it becomes a corrupt, devilish kingdom, so brasht and asuri. So devilish, actually asuri is like the opposite of Shri, so the opposite of pure. So these are all different words in English used to apply to the various words in Hindi that mean pure and impure. So this is not necessarily that there is a devils jumping around, although there are many. So everyone speaks their prayers, calling to the purifier to come. And that's not everyone, but all the Hindus who believe in Ram. And they call on Ram, on God, to come and establish the kingdom of Ram. So the kingdom of Ram, in this case, refers to the kingdom of God, the golden age, doesn't refer to the silver age. So in that case, it must be the kingdom of Ravan. So the kingdom of Ravan means the kingdom of the world of hell. People burn the effigy of Ravan, but at the same time, the scholars, teachers, and pundits do not know what Ravan symbolizes. So they have a character, Ravan, who's a man who has a wife, and he's a king, he's a Brahmin. He is very artistic, sensitive, devotional, and also full of vices. The golden and silver ages combined is actually the kingdom of Ravan, and the copper age, which is also the bronze age. So the copper age and the iron age, they refer to the kingdom of Ravan, which means materialism. And there is the expression, the day of Brahma. So then Baba takes it further. The day of Brahma means also the day of the Brahma Kumars and Kumaris. So it's your day. That means you're in the highest position. You have prosperity, purity, everything is there. That's your day during the golden age and silver age. And then everything goes badly for you in the copper and iron age, relatively speaking. So the night of Brahma is also the night of Brahma Kumars and Kumaris. So right now the night is to end and the day is to come. There is a saying that, you see, again, this is a translation that has been doctored in the sense that it's been softened from the actual words, because the original words are, those who hate God because of the concept they have of him is very insulting to him at the time of destruction. So they blame God for what's going on. These people will be destroyed. And the people who have love for God and do not blame God for what's going on, but they understand, that means they're Gyanis, they're BKs, they know, and so they will be victorious because the destruction will not set them against God, it will not traumatize them. So this is that saying. There are also the three armies or the three groups. That's the Yadavs, the Pandavs, and the Kauravs. So the Supreme Father is called Most Beloved God, the Father, the Ocean of Knowledge. So he is the one who is giving you this knowledge. He's also called the living seed of the world. So the world as Kalpa tree, and therefore God, the seed of that tree. And the Kalpa tree doesn't mean the planet, but the genealogical tree of the social world. He is the Supreme Soul. That means he is God, the highest on high. But he is not omnipresent. People who say that he's omnipresent are defaming him. Because if you say someone is everywhere, the only thing that's everywhere is basically vices. And they're misrepresenting him. And this is based on the Vedanta ideas, which are all in the Vedas. So the Father says, because I was misrepresented, defamed, there has been defamation of religion in Bharat. So this word defamation is a loose translation. So what it means is that religion has become the opposite of religion. So instead of religion implying purity, goodness, and so on, religion has become rigid and polarized, and it has caused a lot of damage. So it's been inverted. So this word defamation of religion is a bit unclear. So dharma, you see, if you say the word dharma can be translated as religion, that's also a misrepresentation, because dharma means what you are. And if you say, I am a Christian, and you can say that's dharma, but actually you're not a Christian, you're a soul. Or if you're not a Hindu, you're a soul. So the dharma of Bharat is purity. And the wealth of Bharat is because of pure karma. So when there is adharma, which has been called defamation of religion, so that means that the concepts of spirituality and the priority of spirituality over matter has been turned upside down, then the karma is also all wrong. And this is why this land lost its wealth and became distorted, so corrupt in the sense of the soul got distorted. So God says, I come at such a time. Bharat, this land of Bharat, India, is my birthplace. The interesting thing about the emphasis God has on his birthplace is that it proves he's an individual, not an idea, because an individual takes birth. So Shiv Baba incarnates in the body of Brahma at a particular time and place and starts speaking. The temple of Somnath and other temples of Shiva are to be found in India. And so temples are memorials. So they are memorials of Shiva, which means that he came here in Bharat, in India, and that he did things here. And this is why there are memorials. And the different names of the different Hindu temples refer to the different activities that he did. So Somnath refers to the fact that he gives the knowledge. Soma means the nectar of knowledge. He says, I make my birthplace into heaven. So he makes this land of Bharat into heaven in the sense of the kingdom of Lakshmi and Narayan, that whole civilization. The beginning of the human world is there in India, and more precisely around the area that's currently Delhi. And then later on, Copper Age, Ravan makes this very same place into hell. So this means that by following the dictates of Ravan, so what are the dictates of Ravan? They're not dictates at all. It's the influence of materialism and the concepts that are given to people in terms of history and geography and so on, based on the idea that reality is matter only. So on the basis of that, people got their karma wrong, and they lost their spirituality, and consequently they got themselves into a world of hell, physically and socially and mentally. And so that is called the Asuri Sampradaya. So Sampradaya is the community, Asuri, the community of people who base their ideas on materialism. So he says, then I change them from body conscious to soul conscious, make them elevated, that is pure, and then they become the community of deities. The world today is comparable to an ocean of poison, whereas the world of tomorrow, the golden age, is comparable to an ocean of milk. That means very prosperous. Rivers of ghee, that also refers to prosperity, they flow in the golden age. In the golden and silver ages, Bharat was continuously happy and solvent, that is prosperous. People lived in palaces of diamonds and jewels. But now this land is insolvent, especially at the time when Baba was speaking in the 1950s and 60s. India was completely impoverished, and there was widespread starvation and everything that goes with poverty, but it's no longer that. At least not in the higher classes. The lower classes, yes. Shiv Baba says, I alone, means I'm the only one who can come and make it 100% solvent and elevated. Elevated is pure. People have now become so corrupt that they have forgotten their divine religions. A divine religion refers to the civilization of the deities, not divine religion. The Father is sitting here explaining. Once again, he goes back to the first metaphor. Devotion corresponds to buttermilk, and this path of knowledge corresponds to butter. It is nourishing, it is rich. They show butter in the mouth of Sri Krishna. So that's very different from what was interpreted in the question and answer part. But okay. They show butter in the mouth of Sri Krishna. This is in the iconography of Krishna. And it doesn't mean what it said in the question and answer. It means that he had the kingdom of the world, which means that he had prosperity. And when he got married and became the actual emperor, then he became Narayan. So Radhe became Lakshmi. So Lakshmi and Narayan became the masters of the world. The Father himself comes and he gives you the unlimited inheritance. That is, he makes you into the masters of the world. So that means he gives you the knowledge, and he enables you to have yoga. And if and when you apply the knowledge and practice yoga, then you do gradually attain this mastery, which in your first birth puts you in a position close to master of the world. Then about himself, he says, if I were to become the master, I would then also have to be defeated by Maya. So he's distinguishing that he's not a human. He doesn't go through the cycle of death and rebirth. And, in the religions, a lot of them think God is living in heaven. And we know that God lives in the soul world, and the only time he comes is actually in hell. And he doesn't come in hell because he did something wrong, but to change the world. So he's outside of anything to do with karmic reward and punishment, like a human is determined by that. So he says this very clearly. If I were to become a master like you, I would also have to be defeated by Maya like you. You are the ones who get defeated by Maya. Maya means materialism, and what you do on the basis of thinking that reality is matter. So then in the confluence age, you have to gain victory over it. Become soul conscious. It's a huge change. It's not just overcoming the vices. It's much more subtle than that. But on the gross level, you are trapped in the 5 vices. Shiv Baba says, I am now making you worthy. Worthy means competent, not worthy, but it means, this word is layak, and layak is a Sindhi word which really has to do with competence. Living in a temple doesn't mean that you're living in a temple at all. Mandar layak. So mandar layak means it makes you into a deity who subsequently is placed as an idol in a temple on the path of devotion. because you will not be living in any temples. You will be living in palaces in the golden age, and you will not be worthy, but you will be capable, because you have the spiritual power, you have the wisdom, the knowledge, the sanskaras, all of that. And so it's translated like that. The golden age is similar to a big temple because it is called Shivalay. Now, Shivalay is the word commonly used in India to refer to a temple of Shiva. And Shivalay also means the place where Shiva is. So in that case, it refers to the world of light, the soul world. And Shivalay also means somewhere that was created by Shiva. So in that sense, the Golden Age is Shivalay. But the Golden Age is not a big temple. But it is a place which is called Shivalay because it was established by Shiva. The Iron Age is called Vaishyalay. So Vaishyalay is a brothel. And why is the Iron Age called a brothel is because basically, whether it's an actual brothel or regular human social arrangement of marriage, it's a deal by which the woman accepts to be an instrument to produce children and look after the house for free in exchange for some money. So that's why he calls it a brothel. And he says all are vicious. Vicious means they're all these relationships, family relationships, are based on the successful sexual reproduction. The Father now says you must renounce the religions of bodies. So, there's this other word that he uses, swadharma, which is always translated as religion of the soul. So you have to see this contrast. So the dharma of the body has to do with your particular religion that you got born into or got converted into. It's also a culture and a civilization, and it tells you who you are and what you are. And so if you accept that as to be your identity, then that would be under the category of religion of the body, but it's paradharma, religion of what you are not. And then become soul conscious, swadharma, what you are is a soul, and what you are not is a body and everything that goes with that. So consider yourselves to be souls, and remember me, your Father. You children now have love for the Father. Love for the Father means you know who he is. You know what his relationship is with you, what he does, why his relationship with you is the way that it is, what you gain from him. And you are in a more accurate relationship with God than people of the different religions are. That's called love. You don't remember anyone else. That means you're not under the influence of anyone else, and you do not mix up his ideas with their ideas and get into a mess. So again, this reference to what was mentioned earlier, you are the ones who have loving intellects at the time of destruction. So that means at the time of destruction, you do not blame God for the destruction. You do not consider God as punishing the world. You know that the destruction is an instrument for enabling all the souls to go back to the soul world. And so you're not against it. You are with God in that you understand that destruction is inevitable as well as essential, and that to get through it, you have to be really soul conscious. Otherwise, you're really traumatized by it. you know that only the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, can be called Shri Shri 108. So this is an expression that is applied to a lot of the gurus, the people who are the heads of Hinduism. So it is a word or an expression that applies to God. It means that that's a reference to the rosary, the Hindu rosary of 108 beads, which is the victorious souls. And then in that rosary, there's a flower, a red flower. It looks like a tassel. And this is a symbol of Shiv Baba, and that how he made these souls into these pure, perfect beings. And so he's the only one who can be called Shri Shri 108. So those people who claim that title, the gurus, they just turn the beads of the rosary of 108. And all the many Hindus do this. So up above, that's a reference to the soul world, but also to the rosary. And you can see in some of the pictures of the Kalpa tree, you see a picture of a rosary with the different BK sisters inside it, with Mama as the leader of them. And so up above is Shiv Baba, then comes Brahma Baba and Mama. So in the Hindu rosary, the first one that comes after the red tassel is a dual bead. So this is a memorial of Brahma Baba and Saraswati. And then the others are their children, which means the other BKs, who are in the rosary of 108. Then there's another rosary, the rosary of Rudraksh. And the rosary of Rudraksh is also usually 108, but it's got beads which are made of seeds, Rudraksh seeds, and they look like faces. So Baba makes the difference between beads which don't look like faces and beads which do look like faces. So you're 108 with faces, and you're also 108 souls, who are the victorious ones. So Rudraksh takes you to the sacrificial fire of Rudra. So again, Baba is making the case for who is speaking, who is the speaker of the Gita, who is Shiva, which is also Rudra. And so there is the sacrificial fire, which means the yagya. So Shiv Baba comes and creates the yagya, and the Brahmins have to take care of the yagya. So this is a great, imperishable sacrificial fire of knowledge in which the horse is sacrificed so that you can achieve independence. So this word self-sovereignty, Swarajya, means independence. And of course, Baba was speaking this in the time of Gandhi, who was also fighting for independence because India was under colonial rule. So Gandhi wanted to have Ram Raja, which was referred to in the Murli earlier, and he wanted Swaraj, which is independence. So the word self-sovereignty doesn't actually have a meaning in English, but independence has a very clear meaning. So in order for you to be independent, you have to see what you have to be independent from. So the horse refers to your body consciousness. And body consciousness means you're under the influence of your community that you live in, your worldly religion, your civilization, the prevailing social ideas. All of this is included in body consciousness. So you have to let go of all of that in order to be free, in order to have independence. And you get this gradually as you study the knowledge at greater depth. And it's a big fire, which it's a purging process. And you have to have yoga for that, because Otherwise, it's too hard to handle. But the yoga gives you the power and also makes you, from the inside, independent of sense perception and all this. So this is called an imperishable sacrificial fire because it has been going on for so many years, and it will continue until the very end. And in a sacrificial fire, at the end of that ritual, everything is sacrificed into it. So it says here, all the innumerable religions will be sacrificed into this sacrificial fire, because only then will this sacrificial fire end. So all the religions refers to all the different cultures and groupings and nations and communities of the world. So two things will happen. One is that, there will be destruction, which is not total annihilation, but almost. So there will be nuclear war, there will be civil war, there will be diseases, natural calamities of catastrophic nature. Everyone will die, just about. And all the ideas will also die, because at that time there's supposed to be revelation. So revelation means that just before they die, they will come to know who God is. And we don't know exactly how that will happen, but he has said that it will be something like that. So this is the imperishable sacrificial fire of imperishable Baba. So Shiv Baba is imperishable. Everything material is to be sacrificed into this. So material also refers to the concepts based on materialism. Some of you are asking, when will destruction take place? So he says, those who establish something then have to sustain it. So this is his answer. If you're creating something, then it's not going to just all disappear. You're creating something, and so there will be survivors, and you will also have to take care of it. And there's many other things that he could say together with that, but he just leaves it at that. He says, this is Shiv Baba's chariot. So that means Brahma Baba's body. Shiv Baba is the charioteer, but there's nothing like horses and chariots that are on the copper-aged battlefields. But the people who made the scriptures made it from legends. It was oral traditions. And so they eventually, at the beginning of the Iron Age, wrote down the scriptures. All the religions consolidated these oral traditions and made them written. And so they made the paraphernalia. Paraphernalia refers to the rituals, the stories, the equipment, the iconography, and the references, the symbolism that is there on the path of devotion. So now we have a quote from the Gita. Baba says, I take the support of this matter. So in the Gita, it says that God takes the support of matter, and nobody really knows what that means. So he explains it. The support of matter means that Shiv Baba doesn't take birth like a normal human being, but he incarnates into another person's body like a kind of possession, and then he speaks through him. So Baba explains, first there is unadulterous devotion. Unadulterated should be unadulterous because it's devotion of one. Then it becomes adulterous. Adulterous in the sense of you have lots and lots of different gods and goddesses by the ends of the Iron Age, so that you don't have a single focus on one who is God, but you mix up all kinds of people and they're all God. So then the Father comes and gives the butter to Bharat. So the butter is the knowledge. You are studying to become the masters of the world. So he doesn't make you the masters of the world. He makes you study, and then up to you how well you study, how deeply you understand it, how you apply it. So the Father comes and feeds you butter. So every day he gives you the Murli. Buttermilk begins in Ravan's kingdom. So all the cream has been extracted from the milk, and it's just buttermilk. And so there's just a little bit of truth. Baba sometimes says about the percentage of salt in a chapati is what you get of truth in the path of bhakti. So it's about maybe, I don't know, less than 1%. So all these matters have to be understood. That means you understand the difference between the metaphor and what they refer to, the symbols and what they refer to. New children cannot understand these things. It takes time for you to accumulate enough information to immediately process the ideas, because when he's speaking the Murli, it's all very much encoded and you need to be able to decode it. Only the Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, is called the ocean of knowledge. The Father says, no one on any path of devotion can find me. You cannot find God through any rituals, scriptures, any of these practices. It's only when I come that I give the fruit of their devotion to the devotees. So it's an interesting equation here. You're the ones who are in Gyan, you become the masters of the world, rulers or subjects of the golden age. By the time you come into the copper age, you begin devotion. And that means those who have done the maximum devotion, they again find God, and he again gives you the fruit of your devotion because you have been looking for a long, long time. So then he becomes the liberator. That means he frees you from your karmic accounts and takes all souls to the soul world, and then the land of happiness. There's no such thing as the land of peace. There's no land there. It's the soul world. And then the land of happiness is the golden age, which is the world of prosperity. An intellect with faith is victorious. It doesn't need to, it is. So if you have clear understanding of the knowledge in your intellect and you apply it in all circumstances, you'll be victorious. An intellect with doubt means, it doesn't mean that you doubt the concepts. It's you don't agree with it, and you stick to your existing ideas, and you remain materialist and devotional in the sense of Copper Age and Iron Age, and you will not be able to make it because you won't be able to let go, and that means you will be destroyed. So this word leads to is an attempt to make these ideas a bit more palatable, but I prefer it as it really is somehow. The Father is the flame. So he's called a flame. It's very interesting. Normally a flame has to consume something, but he is a flame without a wick, without consuming anything. So he is it's a symbol for the one who is just light. And this is also a reference to Diwali, which is a reference to the time when the revelation of God is clear to everyone in the world. And whenever this festival of Diwali, there's a lot of candles and the moths come and surrender themselves. And then some circle around and go away. So this is a reference to those who are attracted to Shiv Baba. They either get it or they don't get it. If they don't get it, they circle around and go away. If they get it, they become dedicated. And so this is why we have this expression, surrendered BK. And so if you go away, it means you didn't understand, you didn't get it. Those children who surrender themselves know that they truly receive the unlimited inheritance from the unlimited Father. That means you understand the knowledge fully and you accept it all and you work with it, and then you get the full result. Those who circle around and go away will become part of the subjects number wise. So that's, of course, the vast majority. They come, they like it, they sit in the Murli, they may or may not understand it, they understand something. And so this is why it's number wise. And the difference between those who become the royal family and those who become subjects is this. So those who surrender themselves claim their inheritance also number wise, according to the efforts they make. So the reward is received according to the efforts. He doesn't give it to you by distributing it to who he wants, but he gives the same to everyone. But how you take it, how you use it, is what determines. So the reward received is according to the efforts made. Everything depends on you. Only the one Father is the ocean of knowledge, and this knowledge then disappears. Very interesting phenomenon that once the destruction happens, of course, the majority of people will leave and return to the soul world. But also whoever is still there, they will not say anything and it will fade away. Baba will not be there. He will not be able to have remembrance, but it will be a changeover from the reconstruction of the new civilization. And nobody will need to hear the knowledge, so it will just disappear. And you will be already in the state of salvation. You'll be in the golden age. And so no need for any knowledge there. And if you do have the knowledge, it will ruin the consciousness, because you will know that you'll just be going closer and closer to destruction. That would not work. There are no gurus in the golden and silver ages, no teachings. Everything is automatic. And people are in a very, very different state of consciousness. Now, everyone remembers the Father because he is the ocean of knowledge. It's a spiritual law that only in times of distress do people turn their attention to God. So, of course, in the golden age, no one will think about God. He gives salvation to everyone. That means everyone is brought to their original condition. The cries of distress end, and there is the joy of victory. So during the destruction and the lead up to destruction, there is total distress. And the joy of victory is not like a triumphant thing, but those who will have made it will be in that understanding. They will know who they are, and the new world will be there, and we will see what happens when we get there. So you know the beginning, the continuation, the middle, and the end of the world cycle. So you are now Trikaldarshi, seers of the three aspects of time, and Trinetri, you have the third eye, so you can see what is invisible to the two eyes. You can see the soul, you can see God, you can see what's going on, and you can see what it means rather than what it seems to mean. You are now receiving all the knowledge of the Creator and the beginning, middle, and end of the creation. So this expression, the knowledge of the Creator and the beginning, middle, and end of the creation, is well known in Bhakti. And they say nobody knows the knowledge of the Creator or the beginning, middle, and end of the creation. And so Baba's making a reference to that and saying, yes, nobody knows it, but I am the Creator and I know it, so I'm telling it to you. So this is not a tall story. The expression is Dant Katai. So Dant Katai is a story with teeth. And so what that means is this is not a story for the purpose of making you afraid or a story that is threatening you. Otherwise, the knowledge is, if you really get it, it's very scary because it leads to everybody has to leave the body and you have to go through destruction. That's very scary. So this is Dantakatai. So Baba says, no, this is not a scary story. It is okay because when you are with God, when you are soul conscious, when you are separate from the consciousness of matter, then you can get through it without being traumatized. It's also the story of the Mahabharata, and the Gita is within the Mahabharata. So the Gita is spoken by God, but that means who are they? They are the Shankaracharyas and the other people of the Vedic India who actually changed the Gita, and they changed all the old scriptures of India because they thought that the knowledge of the Vedas that they came up with was better. And then they changed the Gita much later than that by putting Krishna's name in it. Actually, in the Gita, God is referred to by many, many different names, one of which is Krishna, which means the most attractive one, which he is. But then they put the picture of Krishna on the cover of the Gita about 200 years before. And so people started thinking that Krishna was God. And now Baba clarifies that he's not. You children now have to benefit everyone. Benefit means enable them to understand these things correctly so that they can make their lives the very best possible. You are the Shiv Shakti army. So the Shiv Shaktis are the goddesses who were around at the time when Shiva was around. So this refers to the Brahma Kumaris. And in India, there are different kinds of deities. So the Shiv Shaktis refer to the people, the BKs at the confluence age who took power from Shiva, who became the sort of embodiments of the power of Shiva, which is also called Shakti Avatar. And they are the ones who destroyed the force of evil and who enabled people to be connected with God, because people can't see God directly, but they can see God through you if you are connected. And so there is also this expression, Vande Mataram. So we bow to the women, not mothers, women. Not all women are mothers. Salutations are given to those who are pure. So Mama was a Kumari, not a mother. So when a Kumari is pure, that means when a Kumari is a Kumari, then people bow down to her. This is a ritual that before she gets married, people bow to her, and after she gets married, she has to bow to everyone else. And so Baba says, as soon as she goes to her in-laws and becomes impure, she is obligated to bow to her husband, her father-in-law, and everyone. And so he is using this practice to inspire the Brahma Kumaris to maintain their purity and their virginity. Because if you remain a virgin, then people will respect you, otherwise they won't. So everything depends on purity. So Bharat had what is called a Pavitra Grahastha Ashram. So Grahastha Ashram, Grahast means household, Ashram means a pure place. So not really religion, but that the Dharma of India was a married life with family, but without sexual reproduction, but it was asexual reproduction. Now it is apavitra grahasthashram, so it's the same system of society, but there is impurity, and because of that there is violence, and because of the violence there is distress. In the Golden Age, there isn't anything like that. So the Father brings heaven on the palm of his hands to you children. That means on the palm of his hands means very easy. He just gives it to you, but then you have to take it and then you have to work with it, which is not so easy. So while living at home, claim your inheritance of liberation in life from the Father. So that means you're living in the household, as most PKs are in the family situation. And because of applying the concepts that he's been giving us, you're able to be free from all of the distress and violence. And if that is still going on, but you have the power to manage it and get through it and maybe even make it go away. And so this is liberation in life. Baba is not asking people to leave their homes and families. The Shankaracharya, the sannyasis, they say that you cannot practice purity if you're in the family. And they try to have karma sannyas. So they believe that karma is to be in the family and work for your living. And then Baba says, no, that is some kind of karma, but it's not the whole thing. Everything you do, even breathing, is still karma. So you have to be in your homes and families and live in purity and do pure karma. So this path of isolation means rejection of family. It's nirvruti as opposed to pravruti. So pravruti is with the family. Nirvruti is you have rejected the family. So that is different practice altogether. Hatha yoga. You now make promises to the Father, saying, Baba, I will definitely become pure and a master of the pure world. And now whatever happens, I will never leave my religion. That's a different thing. So the expression is actually this, that even if I have to die, I will not leave what I understand to be the truth, which means I will remain pure. I will not allow myself to be violated, and I will get through whatever has to happen without compromising. And so it's not very clear from this translation that that's what it says. Donate the 5 vices so that you are freed from the eclipse of Maya. So this is a reference to astrology. You know, in India, astrology is very important. And so they believe that every time there is an eclipse of the sun, that this is a bad sign, a very negative sign, inauspicious, and the way that you deal with these inauspicious astrological moments is to make donations. So Baba has taken this expression, this belief, and said, well, the eclipse is Maya, which shadow creates a shadow over the light of your soul, which is because of the five vices, which take away your particularly sexual activity, takes away your spiritual light. And so if you give up those things, then you can become 16 celestial degrees complete, which means the full moon. So in the golden age, the people are called 16 celestial degrees complete and completely viceless. So you have to follow Shrimat. And following Shrimat means you have to understand the concepts and also apply the practices that help you to maintain your purity in terms of karma. And then you will become completely full of light, as in the full moon. Then Baba takes up another of his titles, which is an Islamic title, Gharib Nivas. So there's a temple, not a temple, but a mosque not far from Mount Abu, which is called Gharib Nivas. It's a shrine of a Muslim saint. And it's also called the name of God. The God is the Lord of the poor. And this means that because you have to give up all your materialism, which also means taking your sense of identity from your wealth, then wealthy people wouldn't do that. They can't do this because they think, I have to give up everything. And then they think, well, why should I give up everything? I'm already in heaven, because many people think that if you have money, then you're in heaven, but not necessarily. So Baba says this is why the innocent means like naive people, and those who are weak. Weak means people who have health problems because of poverty. And with stone intellects means people who don't have a refined understanding. They may be very devotional, but they can't understand too well. And they can't process ideas. They can't conceptualize. But nevertheless, these are the people mostly who take the knowledge. And Bharat itself is poor in many ways, poor, especially at that time. And among them too, the Father only makes those who are ordinary and poor belong to him. And so not too ordinary and not too poor tends to be the people in the middle somewhere. And he says only they have it in their fortune. So if you think about people who've had 84 births, they used to be the masters of heaven. They passed through the whole cycle. They used up all of their accumulated wealth and purity and intellectual prowess and whatnot. And so they become simple people by the end. And so there's the example of Sudama, who is remembered. So Sudama is an interesting example. He was Krishna's friend and a school friend. And then Krishna became the king of heaven, and Sudama remained an ordinary person, but they were friends. And so Sudama went to visit him, but didn't have any money to give him a gift. And so he borrowed some rice and lentils, and he came home after having given that to Krishna with a big palace. And so this is the example. The wealthy people don't have time to understand these things. This is true. Some daughters used to go to Rajendra Prasad, who was a former president of India, And they told him, know the unlimited Father, and you will become like diamonds, worth diamonds. Do this 7-day course. And he used to say, yes, what you say is very good. I will take the course when I've retired. And then when he retired, he said, well, I'm ill now. Can't do it. So Baba's conclusion, eminent people don't have time. But they have to first complete the 7 days course to get the intoxication of becoming Narayan. The intoxication is when you really churn this knowledge very deeply. It can take you to great heights of ecstasy, of understanding and deep inner experience of knowing who you really are. So they can't be colored by the knowledge just like that. Only once you've taken the 7 days course can you tell whether someone's worthy or not. Worthy means whether they get it or not. If he gets it, if he's worthy, if he gets it, he will get busy making the effort to study it. Unless somebody is very firmly colored in the furnace, the color fades as soon as he goes outside. So this is a symbol, a metaphor, that once you understand this knowledge, it changes you. But there's a lot of people who enjoy it while somebody's telling it to them, and then they go right back to where they were before. The majority of people in India seem to respond to it that way. I think for Western people, it's so different from what you grew up with that you either really get it or you really don't get it. And if you get it, then you have it. And the color doesn't change. And so this is why Baba says you have to color them very firmly. So I don't know. I think that if somebody gets it, they get it. And there's nothing you can do about it to stop them. And if they don't get it, they won't get it. But there are many people who gradually get it. There is that difference. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada. And the spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children, and spiritual children say namaste to the spiritual father. So the essence for dharana, become a Shiv Shakti and benefit the world. With purity, change people who are worth shells and make them worth diamonds. Secondly, according to Srimat, give up the vices, become viceless, 16 celestial degrees complete, be the moths who surrender to the flame. And a blessing. May you be a powerful soul, an embodiment of remembrance, essence of remembrance, overcoming adverse circumstances, thinking of them as sightseeings. Souls who are embodiments of remembrance are powerful, and so they consider adverse situations as entertainment. No matter how bad the situations may be, for powerful souls, these are sightseeings on the way to the destination. So sightseeings means entertainment, and people spend money to see entertainment, to tourism. Powerful souls who are embodiments of remembrance, whether you call it an adversity, an exam, an obstacle, it's all a sightseeing on the way. You are aware that you passed these sightseeings on your way to your destination countless times. It is nothing new. So you can handle it by really having inculcated the knowledge. Slogan. Instead of correcting others, make a connection with the Father, and you will continue to experience blessings. So thank you very much, and Shanti.
Thank you so much for responding to the requests of many BKs to have a Murli study with you. Thank you for taking the time to clarify many points. And again, as we continue to listen to the way you are studying these Murlis with us, then we also continue to be more clear and really grasp what Baba is saying.
Mm, mm.
For example, this the words that we usually hear, dictates of Ravan, and it's like there is really a Ravan, and again the word dictates, and so it's actually the influence of materialism.
Yes.
And again, it makes more sense.
When Baba is speaking, he's speaking to devotees who only can deal with these characters, these characters of gods and goddesses, and they just believe blindly. But he enables us to understand what these symbols mean, which means that those of us who like to process ideas and interpret the symbols as what they mean, we can actually make a lot of use of the knowledge that a simpler devotee cannot make. So it's very interesting how Baba is talking about these things in these ways that are so different from when you take it in a superficial way. And I think a lot of people in India don't realize what's behind it. Of course, the dadis and those who had taught us when we were learning this made everything very clear. But nowadays, I think many people just don't know. So I think we would appreciate feedback from all of you, what you would like, what you need. So let's look forward to hearing from everyone. So we can complete with a few moments of silence then.